Beau, what's been the message from the older guys, the veteran guys on defense early in this week, coming into a game against Virginia team that is having a tough season, and the game is probably not as going to be hyped up as the Miami game last week?
Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to, from the coaches and the older players and just ourselves, we know that college football is crazy. Anybody can beat anybody anytime. So we got to stay humble each week and treat every week like it's the Super Bowl, like no matter who we're playing. And they're still a really good team. So it's college football. Anybody can play at any time.
Can you take us inside the team meeting on Sunday? Mac was saying it was one of the tougher team meetings, one of the toughest team meetings he's been around after a win. I mean, was that something that caught you off guard, took you back at all?
No, I really like that. Coach Mack, he's been trying to be a lot harder on us and have higher expectations on us, which I think is a really good thing because it just makes that standard even higher and makes us play even better to try to reach that. But personally, I like more of a tougher mindset that we have so much more to improve on, and that even though we did get the win, we could have played even better against Miami. And so that's kind of a growth mindset there, is that we can always improve.
What is the difference in your game right now as opposed to a year ago when you were, I guess, still getting used to the common stuff?
Well, number one, like physically, I was not at the physical standpoint to be able to play. I was a little bit lighter then. I was probably like 235 pounds, which is not terrible. But this offseason, I prioritized putting on a lot of weight. And then another big thing was I was a lot stiffer then, and so I put another big prioritization on mobility so that I could be able to bend the edge better. I think that helped me a lot. And then working with some of the coaches in the off season and other players too, like me and Cameron would go and get some field work a lot, and Coach Cam would help us with that too. Mostly priorities, and like my hips were a lot stiffer then, so I wasn't able to move as well. But yeah, I think that those two things were big pieces of me getting better from this season. I'm like 255, 260.
Did you get a hand on the ball the other night? We were
Yeah. Yeah.
We reported Jabari's right knee.
Really? It's hard to tell when you're like in the live moment, because obviously the number one thing I was trying to do was tackle the guy, and then I'm not sure what happened. I think so, but I think it was also a mix of, I saw Jabari's knee in there too, so I'm not really sure. Could have been both.
Did you immediately know it was out, or did you just like hear the crowd?
No, that was actually kind of a funny moment. I had no idea the ball was out. We like tackled the guy. I was laying on him. I was like kind of like mad at first actually, because like I saw half of his body was like in the end zone, so I was not happy at the time. But then I like look over, and like I see like some of our guys. I couldn't even tell who it was. I just saw like blue jerseys running on the field. I was like, what is going on? And then I was literally having to ask some of our teammates like what happened there, because it's hard to tell like when you're actually in the trenches and like have bodies flying, because it's a war down there, and then look out. But yeah.
Yeah, the sounds too. Like, just what is it like for the senses when you were in just a mass of humanity like that?
I don't know. That was one of the more fun games we've played this year, in my opinion. The fans were going crazy the whole time, and in that specific play, you could definitely hear, like the fans' noise definitely helped provide
like
that.
You jumped up.
Everybody goes crazy, especially like right, because I'm pretty sure we were on the student section end zone, which so that definitely helped too. But,
how recruiting guys come out of high school, they want to play right away. That seems to be the thing these days. How hard has it been for you to be patient, just kind of wait your turn and
I mean, it's definitely hard for a lot of people. For me, I feel like I'm pretty realistic with myself, and I knew that I was not better than some of the guys playing last year, so I knew that I needed to put my head down and work harder to try to get there, and I feel like that's been working pretty well so far. But I mean, everybody's story is different, so you never know. Like last year, it definitely could get you at times when you're doing a lot more scout team stuff and not really with the team. So just being able to push through that is definitely a big thing for sure. To be honest, so my parents played sports at UConn. Like my dad played football there, and my mom played volleyball there. So that was really, like, I wasn't necessarily a fan of anybody in particular, but if I were to have been a fan, it would have been of UConn. But I don't know, I've never really been like a huge fan of watching sports. I always like playing them, no matter what sport it was. So no, I wouldn't say I was a particular fan of any school, but I definitely remember coming here a lot for like lacrosse games, football games, like when I was a kid all the time. Yeah, definitely.
Bo, essentially was in here saying that, over the offseason you really attacked, film and the weight room and everything, and you actually described a little bit of what that looked like as well for you. But
Yeah.
what was kind of the mindset going into all of that? Kind of being like, okay, this is where I'm at right now. Next year I want to be playing. Like, kind of what was that mentality for you?
Like I said, I think it's kind of like being realistic with yourself at times, like knowing that you're not where you want to be yet. So being able to put that work into it and in the weight room take every day like it's the championship, because that's where you want to be. So we would do 2-a-days for the spring and the summer, like all the time. So just trying to use every single one of those as a huge time for me to be able to know that I can get myself that much better. And then taking extra time, like I said, mobility was probably the biggest thing for us, because I was already pretty strong and I was pretty fast, but mobility and the weight, putting on that was definitely helpful too. But yeah, taking every day like it's the most important.
You mentioned mobility.
Real quick, did you have a like I'm here kind of moment? Whether that was at some point this year of like I'm here, like I'm really.
Yeah. I'd say South Carolina, I got a pretty good amount of snaps then, so that was really my first big game, or first game ever that I played in actually. And so like the first play there, that was kind of crazy, especially because like we had worked on some like wildcat checks and like checks for that, like for a specific play, and then they actually came out in like the wildcat. So I was like, we had a play called, and I had to like switch out of that and go to something totally different. So it's kind of crazy, like have like the live bullets flying and like being able to make those moves. It's I don't know. It was definitely a cool experience that whole game and this whole season really.
You mentioned mobility, and I think like it's really easy to think in the off season, okay, lift a bunch of weights, get bigger, get stronger.
Yeah.
What exactly goes into becoming more mobile, becoming more flexible?
Yeah, so Coach Hess was actually a big help in that. I would go to him and some of the other strength coaches who have obviously a lot more experience and knowledge on this stuff than I do, and I asked them to help me like put together a plan. So probably like 3 times a week I would go into the weight room and they would have like a hip series for me. Most of it was on my hips was the main priority. And so part of that, a lot what you think when you think mobility is like just the stretching, like that stuff. But there's also a lot of actual like strengthening too, helps with break that tissue down and make it even to a new range.
How would you describe the difference between your mobility last year compared to this year?
I mean, I just feel better like now, and like if you turn on the film, I'm not sure what y'all have watched, but if you turn on the film, like you could see a big difference in like even just like my stance, and then being able to see different rushes, and like sometimes I'll even go back and watch the film from last season. I'm like not really sure what I was doing and versus now. Yeah, so it's definitely a lot. It's a lot of fun to be able to do that, and I still have so much to work on now that it's fun for me to attack that and get myself even better.
So when you talk about taking a realistic approach at it, things you needed to like gain more weight, get more flexible. Did that reality get pounded into you? When you got here, did you have like a oh crap moment, like I've got a long way to go? Were you getting tossed around in spring practice or something like that? Like how did that reality get delivered to you?
No, I wouldn't say it was like pounded. Like I was doing good. I just knew that I could do even better, and like my football skills and like my work ethic while I was playing was still there, but I just knew that I could be that much better, and so that was probably what that was. I wouldn't say it was like some big thing that happened to make it feel
These
better.
guys didn't pancake you.
No, I wouldn't say that. No.
How much does being a tight end in high school help you as a defensive end?
It's definitely helps like a lot more so with the IQ, I'd say, because you kind of know what the offensive players thinking when they're going into blocks, and like knowing like oh, if I'm a tight end going on the line, I'm gonna be looking at number one, I'm gonna be trying to see where the defense is at, so I know who I'm blocking. So a lot of times offenses can give that kind of stuff away based off their eyes, and just general like technique of blocking too, like knowing how they would want to do that versus now how I can use what they want to my advantage. I'd say those are probably some of the good things of playing
Is
tight
there
end.
a moment this year, a play this year, where you knew maybe the tight end was going to hold it and he was going to chip at you a little bit?
Yeah, like
And you knew in advance?
yeah, like when you watch film, you can see a lot of times, like based off like the off the ball tight end, if they're a little bit tighter in, then it probably will be a run, or maybe they'll be staying in for a close protection. Versus if he's off like out wide, like a yard or two. Like App State was a big one. Their tight end would kind of give a lot of stuff away. Like if he was in the king formation, it'd probably be like split zone or insert. Versus if he's out wide, you know how they did like a lot of boots and sprint outs, so you'd probably be expecting that a lot more. So I think there was one play where the tight end tried to block down on me and I already knew the quarterback was going to roll out, so I went out. I don't remember what happened on the play, but yeah, it definitely does help.
You gonna try to lobby Coach Lindsay to put you in on some trick plays and try to catch?
I definitely make some jokes to them every now and then, but yeah, I'm on the field goal stuff right now, which is kind of fun. So I guess I'm kind of on the offense in a way for a little bit. So that's good enough for me for now.
Take what you can get, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Part of a fake at some point, right?
That would be awesome. I'm not sure though. That would be very cool.
When you talk about working with Rucker during the off season,
Yeah.
like has the improvement he has made from the time like he was your age to sort of the finished product he is now,
Yeah.
like does that serve as an example for you? Like what kind of development is attainable? Like do you look to him as someone to sort of follow?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great dude in every way. So definitely seeing his work ethic throughout lifts, everything. He's kind of like, he's actually literally my big brother. I don't know if y'all know that.
Yeah.
Like when a freshman comes in, they get big brothers. And so he's actually my big brother, which is kind of ironic. But yeah, he's definitely a person I look up to a lot. And having him also on the other side of the ball definitely helps too, because it keeps the O-line honest, because we have so many good players, not just Kamen, like Javari, Miles, all of these guys inside to Tamari. Everybody is a threat, so no O-lineman can specifically target just one of our guys because we have so much depth around everybody. But yeah, Kamen's definitely a guy that I looked up to a lot.